Hey guys, so today I want to talk about Toyota, and it's mainly because in the Speak Cafe comments, some people seem to be particularly excited about Toyota being competitive and that they will have a better car than the Mustang and the Camaro. And I think part of that is this huge amount of fear about the Camaro not being any good because AAA are moving to Ford, and who's the next best Camaro team. I'm just going to stick to Toyota here and just talk about whether they're going to be competitive, and I hope that they will be, and I'm expecting them to be, with the wind tunnel and engine parity processes that we've got these days. It's going to be a lot harder to screw it up when you've got such a clear-cut process of stick all the cars in a wind tunnel, or at least have the Toyota go to wind shear and test it against the data that has been gathered from the Mustang and Camaro. It's just a car. It'll be as good as the Mustang and the Camaro. What will make the difference is the team, the drivers, mechanics, engineers, all of that. So Chaz Mostert will probably stick the Supra up in the top 5 of the championship. I don't expect that WAU will have too much trouble with that. What's the second team going to be? And the issue straight away is, what's the incentive to switch to Toyota? Because, as I've said, parity is going to quash any theories of a better car than the Mustang and the Camaro. So you're not switching to Toyota because you want a better car. You're switching to it because there's some sort of sponsorship from Toyota, or it comes with a technical alliance with WAU, if that's what your team actually needs. The obvious one is Team 18 because they've got sponsorship through the Toyota forklifts. And then there's Premier in the conversation. But because GM are shopping around trying to find themselves a homologation team, that might mean that Team 18 or Premier, whoever of those two loses out, they will switch to Toyota. But if I was Toyota, I'd probably be looking for a competitive team. So if Team 18 continue what they've started on this year, where one of the cars seems to be doing well and the other one's on struggle street, it's not necessarily what you want. I think that Erebus will probably be pretty open to it as long as there's some money towards it, but I think they're probably pretty happy staying with the Camaro. Some people I've seen in the comments have been saying that homologation experience is important, so you've got to be signing a team that has personnel with homologation experience. And that's not necessarily true, because like we saw DJR struggled with the homologation process for Gen 3. Every other Mustang team seemed to be doing pretty decently compared to DJR, except for Blanchard's. Especially when you're the second team, you're not the homologation team. It really comes down to, you just want everything to be sorted as quickly as possible so that you can make your parts and get the cars ready, and then start preparing for the new season with your new cars. Maybe Brad Jones Racing might be interested, but I think that that'd probably be the case if the money was right. Maybe BJR don't really need to be switching makes. They're probably pretty happy as a Camaro team. The teams will follow the money like they did with the Mustangs. Ford were tipping money into the sport. Teams went to Mustang. Kelly Racing did. WAU did. But with Chevy, you're not seeing teams switching to Chevy. You're seeing teams leave Chevy. Teams that were Holden teams to begin with have continued to be Chevy teams. If I were Toyota, you'd choose the most competitive option, and that might just be Premier Racing because they've got James Golding in the top 10 of the championship. The only issue there will be fighting GM for those teams. So GM are saying they want to pick a homologation team. Toyota want to pick a second team. It'll come down to whether the teams actually think that being a homologation team is better than being a Toyota team. I suppose it will just come down to cash. I read on Speak Cafe that the GM homologation role is being offered to teams at around between $300,000 and $500,000. So that should be enough to get new personnel if you need them, cover those costs of expanding the organisation to accommodate a homologation team and homologation processes. Then it comes down to, for any team that wants to become a Toyota team, How much are they going to be paying? Are they going to be paying $300,000? Spokesperson for Toyota said that they will negotiate it. They'll pick a team and then they'll make it work. You want a bit of star power, so you got Chaz Mostert. Team 18 do have experienced personnel. They've got Richard Holloway, who homologated the Volvo. Then before then, he was at Holden Racing Team, so he was involved in those processes for such a long time. So having a guy like Richard Holloway for GM would be great. And you might not necessarily like Team 18, and I don't appreciate their decision, but I've actually been thinking about it more recently. Mark Winterbottom did not seem to be getting as good results as David Reynolds was. He was being out-qualified more regularly, and he was being out-raced more regularly. And that's why those two podiums that he got scored him more points, so he remained ahead of Reynolds in the championship, but he was sort of in a backwards battle against Reynolds across the year. And so now they've signed Anton De Pasquale, and he's had such a great start to the year for Team 18. It seems like that was the good choice, that they should have signed Anton, and we didn't want to see Frosty decline any further. You might not like Team 18. I don't like him because of Lee Holdsworth. I don't like him because of Mark Winterbottom. But the more you think about it, sometimes the better choice is to go with the more competitive options, racing. You should be going for what pays the bills and what gets you closer to the front. It's not like there's anything to homologate, right? There might be some little things that need to be done for the Camaro, and when that happens, Team 18 will be there and step in and do the job in the same way that Triple 8 will do for the Mustang. But it's interesting because people are acting as though when Triple 8 become a Mustang team, they'll suddenly be all the Mustangs will suddenly be better. But that doesn't really mean that that's actually the case, because we did hear there were some small changes to the boot lid for the Mustang for 2025, but that's just aero instability. That's not necessarily as massive an issue as it might have been. It's not like Triple 8 are going to make that car competitive. Triple 8 are a competitive team. It doesn't matter what they've got, and clearly they were the only ones able to make the Camaro a competitive car. Those teams that are doing well with the Mustang are teams that would have done well in whatever car that they had. WAU, they were great as a Holden team. They've been great as a Mustang team as well. Groves have been a Mustang team since the Groves came into the sport. Tickford have been a competitive team ever since they've joined the sport as well, ever since 2006, let's say. So it comes down to teams. It's not really much to do with the cars. It really just comes down to money, and it comes down to performance. The teams that might be looking at Toyota are looking at, hey, are you going to be paying my bills so that I can do this? Or am I just going to save costs and not be switching panels on every car? So presumably Toyota will be equal to the Camaro and the Mustang. All they need to do is get a competitive team. I don't think Team 18 is the option that they want to go down. That having Ludo means that Premier are the best choice for GM, but that's not necessarily the case, because Team 18 have got Richard Holloway, and he's got similar amounts of experience. Where what Ludo homologated, they're just the Mustangs, just the Gen 2 and Gen 3 Mustangs. Richard Holloway has a lot more experience, so I think that Premier should actually be the Toyota team, and that Team 18 should be the GM team, unless a team like Erebus come along, and Erebus would be a great choice as well. If you wanted the best of both worlds, Erebus would probably be a great homologation team and a great performance team. Toyota need a performance team. They've got a homologation team. They don't need to go testing. They've got a team that's going to be doing all of that. WAU cover both bases with Chaz Mostert. He's going to fly the flag. He's going to do a great job. And Premier could also do a great job with James Golding. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Toyota and homologation and things like that.